All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Holy cow, there's so much to dive into. So in just a second, we have Dan Bongino is officially the new Trump pick for the FBI. This guy is a demented hack, to say the least. So I'm going to show you what this dude is all about. We'll talk about that. Then we also have Jon Stewart absolutely clobbers the Doge scam. A lot to say about that one. He also somehow managed to get injured in the segment and literally cut his hand. He was like bleeding out on the table as he was doing his job. So we'll talk about that. Then, to my surprise, you have Maddow begging Hakeem Jeffries to do more to stop MAGA. The libs are pissed, man. They are furious. And then later on, the Blackwater war criminal is trying to set up a MAGA Gestapo. I wish I was kidding about that. A judge has now slapped Elon with a restraining order. We have Elon's staff is mass resigning in protest. A lot of movement, man. A lot of stuff going on. And then later on, the FBI is now blocking the release of the Epstein files. What's so hilarious about this is the right has their own conspiracy theory on it when the reality is staring them in the face. Gee, I wonder why the Trump administration would block the release of the Epstein files. That's a real difficult one to figure out, isn't it? So anyway, we have all that and more. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. And of course, much love to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. Literally couldn't do it without you. We are real independent media. So if you'd like to support, please consider. That link is below. Or you could tip with the thanks button on YouTube. Or you could sign up for Crystal, Kyle, and Friends and get the full interviews on the day that they drop. Deeply appreciated. Thank you guys very much. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. So let's start with this. The other day we got the news. Donald Trump had picked Dan Bongino for a senior FBI position. Now, we all know the top of the FBI is going to be Kash Patel, who's a psychopath in his own respect. This is a guy who was hawking fake magic pills that he says reversed the vaccine. I mean, this is like comical grift. This is like snake oil salesman on steroids. He was doing that. He released a book that portrayed Donald Trump as a king. This is who's going to be running the FBI now. But another senior position was filled, a nonpartisan senior position, and I'll break that down for you here. So Trump says, "Great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has been named the deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology from CUNY, blah, 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 blah." You get the gist of it. Okay. Here's a direct quote from this guy. Here's what Dan Bongino is all about. Quote, "My entire life right now is about owning the libs. That's it." That's a direct quote from this guy. By the way, fun fact, I was offered a debate with Dan Bongino at Politicon. I want to say it was maybe 2018, 2019, thereabouts. And I rejected it because I didn't know who he was. Okay, this was back, I believe this was when Ann Coulter had agreed to a debate with me and then backed out of the debate with me, and they were trying to fill the position at the last moment, and they offered Dan Bongino, and I turned him down because at that time I had no clue who the hell he was. He's made a name for himself since then as being one of the biggest demented hacks on the right. Okay, more. Look at this, guys, from Ken Delanian. At the bottom here, he says, "Traditionally, the deputy FBI director has been a career FBI agent. That is particularly important when the director has no experience at the FBI. Trump announced he's appointing Bongino. A few minutes before Trump made his announcement, my colleague, Jonathan for New York, obtained a memo from the FBI Agents Association which said, in part, quote, the FBI deputy director should continue to be an onboard active special agent, as has been the case for 117 years, for many compelling reasons, including operational expertise and experience, as well as the trust of our special agent population." So, shattered a 117-year precedent to bring in the most hardcore partisan hack you've ever seen in your life. And by the way, this is all the evidence you need. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is proof that this is what Trump does. Trump says, give me all of the biggest sycophants, the biggest loyalists, the biggest bootlickers you have, who will never in a million years tell me no for anything I request to do. That's why Pete Hegseth is where he is now. Because Pete Hegseth is an alcoholic, he's abusive, he has Christian Crusade tattoos on him, he's an idiot and he doesn't believe in germ theory, he said we should bomb North Korea and Iran, he got literal war criminals pardoned who massacred civilians, but the reason he was picked, there's so much dirt on this guy, Trump can say, You're going to do the thing I want, and if not, maybe that other story about you will come out. So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at government by mob boss. So I think what Bongino was, I think he was a Secret Service agent. And again, this is the FBI. So zero experience for such a position, and he's just put in there to be a loyalist. Okay, more. This is hilarious. So this guy was on Tim Pool's show, and listen to this.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it, but well, the show is a story, but not who they are. It says, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know.
Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. You don't know which Middle Eastern country it is that Epstein is alleged to have been affiliated with? Bruh. Oh, come on. Okay. Oh, what is he? Is he a Qatari spy? Is that what he is? Oh my God. Look at this guy. He's refusing to say it. Gee, I wonder why he's refusing to say it. More on that in a minute.
This person who's a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right? Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff.
Okay. So he's correct that Epstein was allegedly a spy, but he's playing stupid in saying, bro, I don't even really know which country it was. Maybe it was the UAE, bro. Maybe it was the UAE. Okay, here's another thing this guy said. Ready for this?
What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What cause is dear to your heart? Israel, the defense of Israel. I wonder why he wouldn't say which country Epstein was allegedly a spy for. That's a tough one to figure out, isn't it? All right, we got more. Senior FBI. Here we go.
The thing that matters is what? Chat. What matters? Anyone? Power. Power. You can see what I'm mouthing. Power. That is all that matters. No, it doesn't, Dan. We have a system of checks and balances. That's a good one. That's really funny. We do?
Joffrey Baratheon-ass administration. Cersei Lannister-ass senior FBI position guy. Jesus Christ. Okay, still not done. More.
So this is what they're doing. This is why Clarence Thomas has been speaking out about the national restraining orders. How a judge in New York can give a restraining order for a congressional district in Wyoming is ridiculous. Clarence Thomas has been warning about this forever. This A. Muse on Twitter is talking about this lawfare too. How this Obama-appointed judge threatened Trump and his team with arrest if they don't restore every dime of funding that have been paused or canceled. Folks, my recommendation is Donald Trump should ignore this. This judge is obviously not acting constitutionally at all. It should be ignored. Demand it resuming all, but you can't order the executive to spend. I mean, you've effectively usurped the power of the executive.
So we have the world's richest robber baron illegally hacking into the Treasury and deleting agencies and doing whatever he wants. And this guy says, oh, it's the judges blocking that who are usurping the power of the president. Well, what about Elon Musk usurping the power of Congress? This is unbelievable. The mental jujitsu they do in order to justify and rationalize rank authoritarianism and fascism and kleptocracy and oligarchy.
Big Balls McGroin is here. Big Balls. I knew we had one. I knew it. I was thinking about this on the Monday show. I'm like, we better have a Big Balls McGroin, or the McGroin army's losing their influence, man. Thank you. You guys, I knew the McGroins would be there. I knew. You guys and ladies are the best. That's fantastic. Folks, threatening with arrest. Who's going to arrest them? The marshals? You guys know who the U.S. Marshals work for? Department of Justice. That is under the, executive branch. Donald Trump's going to order his own arrest and his team. This is ridiculous.
So he's saying, look, let the president be a king. Let the president be an emperor. I mean, what's going to happen? Are you going to arrest them? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to arrest them? No, what they say goes. And remember, I want to reiterate, these are the people who pretend like they are the most American. Like they believe the most in the Constitution and checks and balances. Then here he is going, yeah, give supreme authority to this one man. By the way, if Joe Biden did 1/10 that, they would be screaming for his head. Zero principles. Zero principles. And again, the head, a guy who's in a senior position at the FBI, saying, yeah, just ignore the court orders. Like I said, we are beyond a constitutional crisis. We are looking at a coup. Just to give you some more, because this stuff was incredibly concerning. Oh, I got one more of this guy. Oh, yes. So, do you guys remember when that big story came out where the feds had investigated a bunch of people in online media, and they found out, holy shit, there is a company that is a front that effectively just funnels Russian government money to some conservative commentators. Remember that? So it was Lauren Chen ran this company, Tenet Media, and she got all this money from the Russian government, and then she would take that money and funnel it to Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and Dave Rubin and I think a couple others. And when they were caught, they came out and said, hey man, look, the indictment doesn't mention me specifically. We were dupes. We were victims here. And Tim Pool's defense was, bro, I didn't think it was the Russian government. I just thought it was some shady, shadowy billionaire who was funneling us money. Tim, you do know that's bad too, right? You do know that's bad too. You could just take no billionaire money. You could just take no shitty fucking corporate ads, right? I've never had a conversation with an advertiser, and I've been doing this since 2012. I've made a point of never having a conversation with an advertiser, never doing an ad read. I don't have to worry if I'm taking shadowy robber baron money or foreign government money because I've decided to fund this show in the purest way humanly possible. Small dollar donations and the default ads on YouTube, and that's it. So that was his dodge. His dodge was, I thought it was just a shady, shadowy billionaire who knew I was representing their agenda and sucking off billionaires on a daily basis. What's the problem? Well, it turns out it was the Russian government. So what did Dan Bongino have to say about this? You're going to love this.
I'd be remiss as a former federal agent to not warn people that given these accusations, are other people, I'm not accusing anyone specifically, I want to be clear, are people working with the feds right now to try to ensnare other conservative influencers into this alleged operation? I'm just going to say this. Be very careful who you're emailing and be very careful who you're talking to and be very careful that you're not talking to someone working with the feds on the other end of the line.
So he's trying to give advice to the hosts who are taking Russian government money to spew anti-Ukraine talking points, by the way. And he's telling them, hey, dog, be careful. I don't want you getting caught. Wow. Let me also give you this. This was from Andrew Kaczynski with the K-File on CNN. The White House's new Homeland Security point man hosted a podcast that called for secession and martial law after Trump lost in 2020. The official, Paul Ingrassia, also promoted a martial law option article to keep Trump in office. So this is the Homeland Security point man. I mean, what else is there to say about this, bro? The psychos have taken over. One more for you from Ken Klippenstein. New FBI director, so is the top guy at the FBI, Kash Patel, on his first day in office, threatens, quote, the world's largest manhunt against anyone wishing harm on our way of life, promising we will find you and we will decide your end state. So death threats from the head of the FBI. And allow me to ask, what does this even mean? The world's largest manhunt against anyone who harms our way of life? Sort of a terrifying thing to say when you have a president who has repeatedly threatened anybody who criticizes him in the media. That's why he's waged all these lawsuits. That's why he sued Simon & Schuster and the Des Moines Register and CBS and 60 Minutes. The authoritarian takeover has happened. The coup is happening. It's right in front of our eyes. It's not even subtle, right? This is not even subtle. Everybody needs to wake up and realize what we're truly facing today. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.